Walsh. Alright, welcome back, guys. Today, what is a sociopath? How to spot a sociopath out there. And we're going to go through sociopath versus a psychopath and what to look out for. Why I'm doing these podcasts, I do enjoy these ones, I have to say. Now, I have a huge fascination with psychology and all that. I love this stuff. And hopefully I'm going to try and help you guys. And I believe it's good to have a passion about something that you're talking about. And a few weeks ago, we've been talking about how to spot a narcissist, how to spot highly sensitive people, how to spot a sociopath today. And hey, hopefully you guys won't make the same mistakes I've made out there in the past. For instance, I was dating this girl last year, 100% narcissist. And I only knew this because I studied this shit. And you know what it did? It helped me because I went, aha. Because you see, I think a lot of us, we tend to not blame ourselves straight away, but we do end up focusing on, Jesus, am I doing something wrong here? Do you know what I mean? And hey, we could easily be doing something wrong. Let's be honest, we're not all fucking perfect here. But if you know what to look out for, like for me, that girl I was dating, oh my God. And it didn't take me very long. It took me a few dates now to see, hey, what the fuck is going on here now? And I didn't point the stick to me just now yet. Now, if you've heard me before, you know that I always try to be self-aware. I always try to be decent and fair to people. And there's sometimes that I could be unbelievably wrong. But it was coming from her. And I think it's very good to be self-aware where, okay, now Peter, today, you didn't say anything wrong there, or what did you say? Like, as long as you cover your end, because it takes two to dance here, it takes two to tango. And as long as you're doing your part of the dance, and you're self-aware that I know exactly what I'm doing here, I didn't say anything bad to the person, I didn't shoot their dog, okay, something, as long as you know, well then, you should look at the other person, right? Because maybe they are, like we're talking about here today, a sociopath. So, let's get into it, shall we? Now, I've had a look through this article already, and, guys, if you've heard me before, some of this stuff, you're just like, what? What are you talking about? And I wouldn't believe everything you read on the tin here either, because there's some of these articles that I'm reading, guys, that you're wondering, where are you getting this from, guys? Where are you plucking this out of? Some of it just doesn't make sense. So, okay, let's get moving into this. So, the title is Sociopaths, Warning Signs and Red Flags. And the subheading, what is a sociopath? So they're saying here, a sociopath is an outdated, informal term for someone who has antisocial personality disorder. They also call it ASPD, the abbreviations. This disorder can cause you to lack empathy, which means you don't care about or understand other people's feelings. You might not feel remorse for bad things you do, and you might often take advantage of others for your own personal gain. Now, you see, again, I'm trying to be fair and level-headed here, guys, where, again, you see, this all of a sudden sounds a bit dramatic, because, look, even including me here, you can meet somebody and you're like, yeah, do you know what, now, fuck's sake, they don't give a shit what I think. But does it mean they're a sociopath? Does it mean they're a psychopath? Again, this is why I'm calling these articles out. Because I do believe that there is selfish people. They don't care what you feel in a certain scenario. However, when it comes to a different scenario, they completely care. Because maybe we have to give some slack to people here. Maybe we have to realize, okay, well listen, John here, who I'm dealing with, he's never been through this. He's not in my shoes. So maybe it is hard for the other person to see this, what's going on. And we have to be careful of this. Okay, so let's move it on. So they're saying scientists aren't sure exactly what causes ASPD, but both nature and nurture seem to be involved. You are more likely to have ASPD if you have a family history of the disorder or you're experiencing something traumatic while growing up. You're also more likely to have it if you are a male, had behavioral problems as a child, or grew up in an unstable environment. Many people are unaware of the disorder and may never be diagnosed. See, I want to break this one down here. I'm going to nitpick this one. Really? Family disorder? Like, guys, presume everybody's heard of Oprah, right? I mean, apparently that woman had just an unbelievably bad childhood, horrendous experiences. There's other people out there that have, but they've gone on to lead successful, happy lives. Now, okay, maybe Oprah's the wrong example. You hear that she could be a bit of a diva, a bitch, but then again, how do we know? How do we know? So, okay, let's move this on. Oh, 1 second now, guys. I just nearly lost it there. I'm calling this out from my phone. It's always easier because at least I can always swipe when I'm sitting at home and preparing for the next podcast the next day. Okay, so where are we? So again, guys, just back to that point. Again, I don't know. Like, really, is it from childhood trauma? I mean, if that's the case, well, look, hey, Jesus Christ, I could go on about that. I was a race driver and I was signing autographs on hats for kids when I was 20. Before that, same thing. I was like a fucking superstar. And hey, let's throw in adoption too. I'm adopted. Doesn't bother me at all. So couldn't I use these childhood, quote, trauma experiences? You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. And okay, so where do we have it? The word sociopath carries a lot of stigma and misconceptions. Popular movies and books tend to show sociopaths as cruel and heartless. As a result, people often think that those with ASPD are always criminals, but this isn't true. These stereotypes make it hard for people with ASPD and their families to identify the condition and seek help. To avoid stigmatizing people with the disorder, it is best to avoid calling somebody a sociopath or psychopath. Hey, Peter, you're a fucking psychopath, man. Even though I think I kind of am, but I hope to think in a good way. In casual conversation, focus on a person's problematic behaviors, such as lying or illegal behavior, rather than labeling them a sociopath. When talking about the clinical disorder, say, quote, person with ASPD. These simple changes lower the shame around the disorder so that people feel more comfortable getting a diagnosis and seeking treatment. Well, hang on a sec, come on. Are you joking me? Like, so let me guess. You take the softy approach, and then eventually you're going to, in your roundabout way, lead on to, hey, John, after everything we've gone through here, I think you're a sociopath. Is that what you're going to do? Like, actually, if anything, John's going to get more sensitive because now you've gone through some real elements of what he does, and now you've even backed your case up even more to now say, yeah, John, you're a fucking sociopath. Jesus Christ. I don't think you gotta say it to the person as long as you know what they are. Do you know? Okay. High-functioning sociopath. This is an outdated non-clinical term that refers to people who have mild ASPD traits or are good at hiding them. As a result, they can be successful in everyday activities like working or going to school. Some may hold highly respected careers such as business person. They might seem charismatic or charming, but are actually manipulative. Well, okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Number one, guys, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson, right? And you should always check him out. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And now, if you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, psychologist, fantastic. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's on a load of social media. I mean, if you haven't heard of Jordan Peterson, well, fuck, where have you been hiding, really? Because he's everywhere. But even Jordan Peterson says that there's a lot of stigmata. Oh, yeah, well, a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths, they're big business people because they have no feelings, they don't give a shit. Jordan Peterson says it's the complete opposite, actually, because a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths, they tend to hide in certain areas, and then they get caught out, somebody sees through them, and then they need to move on. They need, oh fuck, I gotta get out here. This guy knows what I'm up to, this and that, blah, blah, blah. They can see right through me, and then they're gone. So in fact, a sociopath doesn't exist. It doesn't help in the business world. And they might seem charismatic or charming, but are actually manipulative. Well, let's dissect that one. There's charming people everywhere that are not sociopaths, and they like giving people compliments. You know what I mean? Like, I would think I fall into that bracket. I like to make people feel good around me. It's like, hey man, hey John, you're looking good, man. You're looking fresh. Or hey Mary, your hair's lovely today. Why not? Make people feel good. It's not trying to manipulate them. I'm not trying to get money out of them. Jesus Christ. It's nice to be nice, and it's nice to have a good relationship with people. If you call that manipulation, well then I don't know what you'd call anything else. But it's nice to be nice. That's the way I look at it. So okay, let's move on this. It's harder to tell when someone has high-functioning ASPD, but that doesn't mean it's not harmful. Their insincerity and lying can still hurt the people around them. Well, obviously, right? Okay, a low-functioning sociopath. This is also an outdated non-clinical term, informally used to describe people who struggle to hide their ASPD traits. They might not have the social skills to quietly manipulate and deceive. Instead, they might rely on threats or violence to get what they want. They may also engage in illegal behavior, and they often have other harmful conditions like addiction. So I presume we're talking about booze and drugs, right? So ASPD can also be part of another serious mental health condition such as bipolar disorder. Oh, Jesus. Okay, now we're talking about bipolar disorder? Really? Alright. Borderline sociopath. There is no such thing as a borderline sociopath. ASPD is often confused with a similar condition called borderline personality disorder. Both are part of a family of disorders called cluster B personality disorders. These tend to cause emotional, unpredictable, and dramatic behavior. People with BPD have mood swings driven by stress, low self-esteem, and fear of abandonment. It's common for people with ASPD to also be diagnosed with BPD. Well, what about their diet? Like, guys, I think I was only discussing this point, right, on my How to Spot a Narcissist. I think it was that episode. Don't quote me on that. But a lot of our moods can be affected because of what we fucking eat. And like, you wouldn't, like, guys, I definitely have talked about this in my podcast before. I did an allergy test way back when I started racing. The amount of fucking foods and ingredients I'm allergic to: wheat, yeast, dairy, strawberries, tomato. The list goes fucking on and on and on. Now, I wasn't going around like a mental patient going around, oh fuck you man, and fucking killing everybody. No, not at all. But I mean, my mood was definitely different. I was more tired. It definitely took me longer to get in the day, so to speak. And then I changed my diet, and then things got a lot easier. Like, guys, I'm telling you, if you've never gone for an allergy test, especially, this is 20 years ago for me, so I'm sure these allergy tests have got a lot better these days. Well, hopefully they have for you guys if you do decide to go for one. So I would definitely go for an allergy test. You'd be amazed at what you can be allergic to. And I'm dead fucking serious, guys, on this. Or you might even be allergic, but it just doesn't agree with you either. And you could be eating this shit every day, because the point is this: you can build a tolerance. So for instance, for me now, pizza. Depending on the type of pizza, if it's a fresh pizza, I'm not too bad. If I have a real, like, fast food takeaway chipper kind of place that you'd order takein, okay? And if that type of pizza came along and that pizza was stuck in a fucking fridge for about a week, I go weird. I go zooey. I start to get sensitive. I'm like, I'm almost looking at people going, huh? What did you say? What does that mean? Like, I get paranoid. I get weird with this shit. And it just turns my fucking brain zooey. I don't have that every single day, though. If I eat the wrong food, I can feel that way. So, hopefully I can help you with that one, guys. Maybe there's something there for you. But at the same time, sorry, my real point, I just almost missed it there. The point was this. There was one stage where I was actually eating so much pizza that I actually got used to it. And it was only until I went off it, then went on again and had another pizza, let's say 6-7 months later, then I felt, oh my God, I felt zooey. But when I was eating it over and over again every single day, I didn't feel that zooiness because my body actually built a tolerance for it. Now, you could say, well, hey, if you build that tolerance, that's good, right? But is it though? Because it's still, your body's still going through that, oh God, oh, I can't handle this shit. It's just growing a muscle, fair enough. But maybe it's not a good idea to do that. Maybe it's not a good idea. Anyway, something for you to think about, guys. Next line, our next heading, sociopath versus psychopath. Okay, here we get interesting now. People often confuse the term sociopath and psychopath and use them interchangeably. They aren't different in the clinical sense, neither is an official diagnosis. They both refer to someone who has ASPD. You can think of psychopathy as a subject of ASPD with its own set of behaviors that set it apart from sociopathy. Jesus, sociopathy. Get out, can't speak fucking English. On the ASPD spectrum, psychopathy is generally seen as a more severe form of ASPD than being a sociopath. According to research, psychopathy has a stronger genetic association. Scientists think that parts of the brain involved in emotions don't fully develop. Although sociopathy can also be inherited. I can't even speak. Jesus Christ, guys! I think you should stop listening to me. This fucking dumbass here on the episode. Oh God! It can also be inherited. Abuse and trauma in childhood are more common causes. Okay, the traits of being a sociopath. It's important to realize that people have many personality traits. Someone may exhibit selfishness or act aggressively, but that doesn't mean they have ASPD. Thank you very much. You see what I mean? Like, we can all be a bit fucking mood swingy every now and then, and I'm including myself here. We can all have our moments, So thank God this person has a fucking bit of a brain here. Right. Someone may exhibit selfishness or act aggressively, but that doesn't mean they have ASPD. Since many people who have ASPD don't recognize these traits as a problem, watching for consistent behavior pattern is necessary. Okay, here we go. These are some common signs of ASPD. Lack of empathy for others, impulsive behavior, attempting to control others with threats or aggression, using intelligence, charm, or charisma to manipulate others. Well, I can't argue with those. But I would say that if we all, and I think we all have some of these traits from time to time, don't think you're a sociopath, guys, please. Like, if it's happening every goddamn fucking day and you live your life by that, well then, maybe that's time to start thinking about something. Here we go again, more of them. Not learning from mistakes or punishment. I wouldn't say that one. Not learning from mistakes. That just could mean you're just a prick. Or you just stick your head in the sand. You're delusional. Could be that one too. You don't give a shit. You just want to be right because you've been led to believe that looking right all the time is the best way to live. Or you're just a coward. You don't want to admit that you're wrong and own up to responsibility. Maybe. Okay, here we go for more. Lying for personal gain. But don't a lot of people do that anyway? Seriously, I'm being serious here, like. But I wouldn't call... But again, I suppose depending on the extremity of it. Showing a tendency towards physical violence in fights. Okay. Generally superficial relationships. Sometimes stealing or committing other crimes. Threatening suicide to manipulate without the intent of actually doing it. Okay, well that's fairly serious. Abusing drugs or alcohol. Trouble with responsibilities such as job, paying bills, etc. Really? Or maybe the person's just fucking flat broke and they've lost their job. Or maybe they just don't give a shit about paying their bills. They're irresponsible. I wouldn't be banking on that one now. Okay, next one. Common things people with ASPD say. Ooh. People with ASPD can be very manipulative. Some may use outright threats, whereas others hide their intentions with charm or passive aggressiveness. Manipulation can sound like, it wasn't my fault. So they try and manipulate around. They don't want to take the blame. They also can say, that's not true. People with ASPD often like to get what they want. You see, can we have a bit of context here? What do you mean by that? That's not true. I could say that today if somebody says something and I'd be like, no, that's not true, man. Jesus, come on. Next one. I've never met someone as kind as you. Flattery is used to get your support and later favors. Okay, but back to my point here about being a charmer. You know, you could be you could just genuinely be a nice person to somebody, and if they're the nicest person you've ever met in your life and you're blown away by them, that's a good thing to tell them that they're nice. That's a fucking great thing to tell somebody that they're nice. Jesus, people should be rewarded for this behavior. Fuck me. Okay, next. At least you don't have it as bad as me. People might use this phrase to invalidate your feelings so you can focus on them instead. Well, okay, I'll bite on that. I'll bite on that one. But then again, you know, let's look at it from the other way. Maybe somebody just keeps going on with their bullshit, you know, and that's your response. You know, you get some complainer at work every day and they're going on about how tough their life is, this and that, and they're doing it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for the last 5 years in a row, and you just can't fucking handle them anymore. And yet, you know, you've got a child with disability, God love you, back at home, and it's hard to even to do anything with your child at the weekend, or even maybe you have a disability and you find you're limited to stuff, you know, or maybe you've got a dying parent, a dying friend, a dying child, God knows what. You know what I mean? So, and then people say, just kidding. That's another one. Some people use sarcasm to hide mean remarks. I wouldn't see that as a big one now on the list. Oh, here's the next one. You're so sensitive. Oh, there you go. Okay, I think this one hits the nail on the head without a shadow of a doubt. People with ASPD might say this to make you feel like you've overreacted to something hurtful they've said or done. You know, I've heard that one before. I've heard people say that to me. And I've looked at them going, huh? What are you talking about? And you almost... I've seen that now, guys, you know? Keep an eye out for this yourself. All of a sudden, somebody throws a jab at you. And they're like, oh, you're so sensitive. But do you know what? They're mostly the people that fucking cave within 2 milliseconds if they hear something, 10% of that jab that you threw at them. But yeah, I do believe that one, that people do that for you. Do that to you. The next one, I did it for you. This pins the blame on you, not the speaker. Ooh, that's true. Well, hey, I've definitely made fuck-ups in my life where I've done things for other people. And you know what? I always kick myself because I still chose to do it at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter anything what they think. What matters is what you do. If you decide to do something for someone else and it all goes to shit, well then, you know something? It's on you, okay? And it doesn't mean you have to beat yourself up. It could be for a loved one and you're trying to help them out. That's a good thing. But at the end of the day, maybe you didn't research it. Maybe, look, that's just the way it fucking is. But it's still on us, unfortunately. But I wouldn't say unfortunately, but, you know, as in, you have to just suck it up. You know? Another one. If you really loved me, you would do this. Yeah, but don't just manipulators in general say this shit. You know, I've heard this type of thing before. Not those exact words, but that does ring a bell for me. But I wouldn't fall for that. I know exactly what they're up to. If you break up with me, I'll kill myself. Ooh, holy shit. Yeah, well that means there's a very safe chance they're not going to kill themselves. Very safe chance on that one. I've seen that one before. You're imagining things. This form of manipulation is called gaslighting. It makes you doubt yourself and your sanity. Well, look, that's true. Somebody can be a sociopath or a psychopath. They're very charming and insistent. But again, it doesn't mean every charmer's a sociopath or psychopath. But still, you know, and they can be very convincing. But you know what, guys? I always say, the person that says these things to you, stop everything what you're doing, review, go back to everything. Right? Start from the start again. Start all the way at the start and review everything. And don't engage with that person until you've actually reviewed everything. Okay. So they're saying how to deal with somebody with this. Maintain your boundaries. Keep your interactions with them short and to the point. Avoid engaging with them emotionally and do not give them any personal information or sensitive details. But you see, again, I think that's very important. You need to make sure that you know that the person's a psychopath or sociopath first, right? You can't just assume, and that's why I hope, guys, that nobody falls into that trap that, oh yeah, Peter's a psychopath. Like, whoa. Because I also believe that if you're... Now, I believe every human being is a fuck up to a degree, okay? Including myself, by the way, here. In other words, we're not perfect. We're all emotional people, sensitive people. But at the same time, the person that is a psychopath, because they have a set of beliefs, I believe this. I believe that the psychopath thinks you're a psychopath because you don't see what they see. Because they have this belief or something. Now, could you cast everybody like that? Probably not, and I wouldn't say so. But it's an interesting way of looking at things. You know? And that's why you shouldn't deal with them. They're saying also, seek support and guidance. Turn to trusted friends and family members for emotional support. Number 3, educate yourself. Learn the signs of ASPD. There we go, so you can spot the behaviors. Avoid confrontation. The situation could quickly escalate and become unsafe. Remain neutral and composed when dealing with some of the ASPD. Showing emotion can leave you vulnerable to manipulation. No, I wouldn't blame... Actually, what I say sometimes... Do you know what? Now, guys, please be advised. I don't know if this is good advice, or if this is bad advice, or if this is a combination of both. Okay? Make your own mind up on this one. But if I'm trying to figure out somebody, and if I'm thinking... Oh, actually, I think this person's a psychopath. I will poke the bear. Because if I'm not sure, the very slightest thing... Now hear me out, guys. The very slightest thing can cause them to fall off the edge, right? So that's the nice thing about poking the bear in this case, because the chances are you're not saying anything wrong. You're just going to call them on something. Oh, like, oh, John, so you're going to do that, is it? Oh, well, that's nice. You know? So you're still not being an asshole. You're just going to poke them a little bit, right? Without going over and into the dark side, okay? I think it's a good way of doing it because then they expose themselves. Let them show you their colors. Let them reveal it all, baby. That's what I say. Let them reveal it all. And the sooner you find out, the fucking better. Okay. And here we go. Just before we round it up, guys, today, do not try and change them. Well, okay, yeah. They're saying that you need to stay away from them. You can get help from a therapist or find a support group. You won't be able to change your loved one's behaviors, but you can learn ways to understand and cope. Oh, God. And they're just saying in general, get therapy. So, guys, I hope this helps today. You know, I would say the most important part of this today is, if anyone's listening to this, just don't buy into that everybody's a psychopath or a sociopath because they might have one or two traits. It could be their diet. It could be they're going through incredible stress with a loved one ill. God love somebody. God love anybody with that. You could be pushing their fucking buttons too. You know? And they're trying their best around you. Like we all, that's the way I look at it. We have to be self-aware. Don't believe everything you hear, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with more of these articles again. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully they do help. Cheerio, guys. That's it for today. Thanks.
Peter.
Walsh.